because not much people in our country and the cities are actually landless or homeless, but they are migrating from other cities, other VDCs to capital city. Kathmandu is the capital city of Nepal, so our approach is to find the root cause for it, and the root cause is not every city is privileged with better education, better health facility, and job opportunities. So our approach is to collaborate with other cities and other VDCs around our capital.
Mayor Balendra Shah from Kathmandu, Nepal, will bring an Asian perspective, and a particular one in a city that has many challenges, including on housing. Maybe you will also have views about innovation and collaboration to tackle this crisis of homeless. And also
thank you so much. Listening to all the panelists out there. So it's South Asian actually. So South Asian problems and problem with other cities all over the world seems to be really different, because not much people in our country and the cities are actually landless or homeless, but they are migrating from other cities, other VDCs to capital city. Kathmandu is the capital city of Nepal, so our approach is to find the root cause for it, and the root cause is not every city is privileged with better education, better health facility, and job opportunities. So our approach is to collaborate with other cities and other VDCs around our capital to collaborate with them for the upliftment of their education system, upliftment of their job opportunities. So we don't promote migration from outer cities. So what we believe is the power, the economy, the job opportunity all over the country should be balanced. A single city should not gain all the power, all the economy, so that people come all over the country come to the single city. So yeah, we identify the people who are coming from some districts, some other districts. Obviously, the citizenship designates the place they live. So most of the people, they have their lands, but in their villages. They have their house, but in villages, but other cities. So we try to, obviously the homeless people who does not have anything all over the country, we try to collaborate with NGOs and other institutions for the fooding and shelter for those. But for those people who are just coming to capital city for job opportunity, we try to train them. We use some skill festivals, train them with plumbing, electrician, housing construction, and cookeries, so that they can get job opportunities. They can create small business in their own cities, their own villages. And also, most of the people are migrating to some developed countries as well. So we try to promote the migration of people from the city to outer countries, as well as their cities to our cities. So there should be a balance between it. So we believe in that. And obviously, nobody should stay homeless. So we identify the homelessness of people, if it is in actual. And also, South Asian countries have their culture. Like our country have 126 languages and different cultures. So evacuating a city and coming to capital city does not evacuate the people, it evacuates the culture as well. It evacuates the language as well. It evacuates the cultural events, festivals, everything. So to preserve the culture, to preserve the heritage, to preserve the intangible and tangible heritages in all the cities outside the capital, we need to preserve the people out there. So we need to preserve their population. So we are promoting in collaborating with them to promote their economy, rather than focusing on our city and inviting the people all over the country. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you very much. And I'm just going to go up to the lectern just for the very final remarks for all this policy debate. So, thanks to the panelists, and I'm not going to summarize everything, but I did want to say 3 or 4 things. Can also, Emilia, if I can ask you to come up for a second. Yes, that's a surprise, but she always does it to us. So Emilia Saez, who's coming on stage, is the Secretary General of United Cities and Local Government. And I want her by my side, just a second, Emilia, because the conclusion of this policy debate, and I want, so those of you who are newcomers, the conclusion of this policy debate is not going to be that there's one better way of doing it or another one. we've heard massively different realities from 4 different continents to address one issue which, let's not forget it, is part of the Sustainable Development Goals. It's the first point of Sustainable Development Goal 11, right? So there's a goal which is about cities, and the first idea is that decent and affordable housing should be available to everyone. And sometimes we tend to think, or we tend to hear national debates where housing is a sort of nice to have compared to other social rights. And it's always the mayors who come and say, actually not. Actually, housing is indeed part of the SDGs, is indeed as fundamental a right as any other of the rights that are contained there. And the reason I want Emilia Saiz here next to me is because we're already deep in the debates about what comes next after the SDGs. Not that we've achieved the SDGs by any stretch of imagination, but we have realized we're seriously off track. I was hoping that Emilia could intervene this afternoon, but I think the travel will not allow it, and I think it's a good segue. So if Emilia can tell us in 2 words, how are cities part of the process to rethink what do we do with SDGs and what comes next?
Well, thank you very much, Jordi. Thank you for your generosity and for allowing us to enjoy this great panel, in fact. Allow me to start with the housing question, because I think it's connected to the question you are asking about what is coming next. Well, what's coming next after the Summit of the Future and the Pact for the Future that is being negotiated currently is going to look very similar to the SDGs, I would think. But I think that we would need to tweak it and seek some additional content. Right now, it is really remarkable that while every single city in the world, and we have had a taste here of who they are and how they are working around it, is signaling housing as one of the big crises of the planet. And you are absolutely right. I loved what Toronto was saying about you cannot detach, homelessness from housing, from settlements, all of these questions. They are totally linked. Although you are all signaling that, the housing question is not in the Pact for the Future yet. It's not in the draft. Not lightly, it's just not there at all. And so you see here a very big gap in what the priorities are from a territorial perspective and what they need to be with the broader agenda. I think we need to correct this. Something else that is not there, and that is the second lobbyist space that we are seeking in the Pact for the Future, is the acknowledgement of the importance of those informal settlements and slums. That is also not there, while in our cities around the world, there are numbers that say that over 40% are informal, those settlements. Urbanization is informal for a great part. The mayor of São Paulo was saying we were not planned, but in fact it's beyond that. I mean, there is a lot of parts that remain to come up and not planned. So I think it is very important to take this into account, because that brings us to the reason why we want to be at the table and why we want the localization of the Sustainable Development Goals and the vision from the territories to those global agendas to be part of the discussion. The aim of sitting at the table can be an aim in itself. I do think that a sphere of government of the size and importance of local governments should be at any table anyway, so it can be an aim in itself, but it goes beyond that. It's in fact to address these things and to make the connections between human mobility and the housing issues, to make the connection between the climate challenges and the social issues. From our perspective, Jordi, and I'll finish with this, what comes next is the social summit. The social summit is going to mean more for us at local level than anything else. And from the perspective of United Cities and local governments and obviously metropolis and the whole ecosystem, the whole family, what we are looking at is if the multilateral system is not going to be putting local issues at the table, we will need to construct a local multilateral system that will address those issues and call a global, local, social covenant to do that. It will need to be the organized civil society that will need to carry our narrative to those spaces. And then hopefully one day, when we get the seat, we will make it happen. Thank you, Jordi. Thank you again, everyone,
Thanks,
for a
Emilia.
great panel.
And just to say that today's policy debate is a wonderful illustration. First of all, the big cities of the world are not waiting for anyone. They are out there. Even the mayors who don't have control over the real state of their own cities are doing their best to address these issues. Even where the means are not there, even where the laws are not in favor, mayors are taking the initiative. Those mayors will learn from each other, will exchange. They'll also be next to you when you're pressuring the governments of the world to bring these things into the agenda. And they will keep reminding everyone, including the national governments, housing isn't an optional, isn't a nice to have, is where it all starts. Thank you very much.